Welcome to the first episode in a brand new series of Your Time on the Run, the Hunted podcast from Reality TV Warriors. My name is Michael Harmstone, and joining me as always is my fellow Brit who's only doing this series because we want him to, Anthony Williams.
Walkie-talkie, walkie-talkie.
And the lady who promises us every week that she's not a weirdo, Michelle Pierce-Denevert.
I wasn't ready with the
This is where you say hello,
tagline
Michelle.
like he was. Bugger. When did we last podcast? Like, seriously.
Last Hunted. So, May, June last year, I think.
That's crazy.
Yeah. We've been recording the first historians of next year, me, Logan, and Bindles, and I actually mentioned this when we recorded this week. I'm like, yeah, Hunted has sideswiped me again because I wasn't expecting it to be this side of Christmas, and more importantly, I wasn't expecting it to be 2 a week again.
I don't know why they do that. It can't help the show because it just means more people will miss it happening because there's less of a window of opportunity.
Yeah, and there are 3 of them here because we have not watched episode 2 deliberately because we don't want to spoil ourselves.
Yeah.
You can sort of blame Australia because we like having multiple episodes, and ever since we started, you have started and America has started. And yes, 200 in a week, 2 celebrity traders in a week, 2 Australian amazing races in a week. Like, come on, people.
Yeah, to be fair, no one watches Amazing Race Australia anymore, so that's
yes,
kind of
they do.
beside the
We've
point,
had
but-
really good ratings. We've had good ratings.
Have you seen the ratings, Michelle? I don't think you have.
No, on catch up. They've been good on catch up. Yeah. Well, that's what we all do now. We watch it on catch up. Well, I don't, but a lot of people do.
As much as 10 are spinning it as a success, I have seen the ratings. It's doing really badly, at least on live.
Nobody watches live anymore.
No, hence, us doing this 5 days after the fact.
Exactly.
But, yeah, quick admin point. As much as I joked about it last year, it was in all of the descriptions last year, like whatever Channel 4's schedule is, and it was actually weekly. This year it isn't. So we will be doing it weekly every single Saturday because, life's too short to do 3 episodes of this show. We're doing 6.
Yeah, we can't do it justice when we're trying to cover half a series in one hit. It's ridiculous.
No. And when I say 6, I mean 6 asterisk, because coming on to my next point, if there are any hunters or fugitives who do want to talk to us, you know where we are. There may be some irons in the fire on that point.
Well,
Woo!
there may be even more, but we'll get to that when we introduce the cast.
Yeah, I have had a preliminary conversation with someone about maybe coming on. But I've not told you guys deliberately. Because I slightly called someone out on DMs who I know listens to this podcast. So, first question. Everyone knows what I've been up to the last year. What have you guys been up to? Anything interesting?
Oh, God. Last year, loads. Changed jobs again. Same thing, still working in learning and development. Loads of comedy stuff. Been doing some amazing stuff. Been doing some big gigs. And just general life stuff, really.
What about you, Michelle? Are your children still alive?
Yep, still alive. One just turned 14. The other one's 19, who is now going to change into doing a teaching degree. I asked her if she was very sure about that before she and yeah, trucking along, winning a few different things like award show attendance, and managed to corner the CEO of the company who makes the Amazing Race and chat to him. It's been a good year doing bits and pieces and podcasting with another company as well. So yeah.
The startling thing is, when you say your daughter's 19 now, she was 8, 7 when we started this.
Really?
Yeah.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? My eldest's just gone off to Cardiff University. It's just bonkers.
Yeah, because if you consider we're about 6-7 weeks away from 12 years of the podcast now.
Wow, that's crazy.
2nd week of December, that was. The 11th, I believe. And you mentioned Eureka, so that leads me on nicely to something that I know you guys will want to discuss with me, is the fact that Alex Liang invited me to the 007 Road to a Million premiere.
Oh, cool.
And
really?
I linked that to Eureka because I spent the entire evening bitching about Eureka to the exec producer of the show.
Wait a minute. Is it done by Eureka?
No, it's done by someone else who I really should know off the top of my head, but I don't. But I ended up getting introduced by Alex to one of the exec producers, and we started talking about the podcast and all that sort of stuff. And he said, "What's your favorite show that you cover?" And I'm like, "Well, kind of by default, it's got to be Mole, given how many seasons we've done of it by this point." He said, "Did you see the Netflix one?" And I'm like, "Oh boy, yes, I did briefly. Saw 3 episodes of it, thought it was terrible." So that then led on to me basically pointing out how Eureka did not understand the show.
I don't think it was terrible.
Right.
You're wrong. It was.
It was average.
I have seen 50 plus seasons of Mole at this point, and it is the only one that I have not finished because I just couldn't be bothered.
On the flip side, though, there must be millions of people who've only seen that, and that's got to be a good thing.
I mean, from their perspective, yeah, because any season they see after that is going to be better.
I just think a mediocre season of The Mole is better than no season of The Mole, right?
I don't
Yes.
agree. See also Amazing Race Australia.
Because you brought up Alex's show, I quite liked it.
Yeah, it was really fun. I am not just saying this because I know that Alex will probably listen to this podcast, and this is the first time he's heard me talk about 007 Road to a Million when he's been on it. But I loved the first series. I loved the second series in a different way, obviously. I have an invested interest in Alex doing well on it, at least. I think the first one was a bit more cinematic, but the second one was good fun, at least.
I think, I know when the first episode came out in England and I hadn't seen it, or maybe it was the second one, and he got a bit of flack for the way he was acting or something. And then I messaged out. I literally binge watched it in a day, all the episodes. And I understood, when he came to that episode, I'm like, well, what are people's problems? I don't understand. But then I've watched Amazing Race so many years, and we've had the Charla Murner and Schmerner and all the people that people hate, and I generally like them, but I couldn't see anything that Alex had done wrong. So I even messaged him and said, "You were fine. Like, that's seriously ridiculous. If anyone hated you for anything you said, that was crazy."
The way the exec described it as Alex is a casting producer's dream.
Yeah, of course he is.
Because he has no filter, and he's very competitive.
Yeah.
I know. It's good.
But people kind of don't necessarily enjoy watching people who are competitive. And I say that as someone who, was incredibly competitive on The Chase and got a lot of hate for it.
That's ridiculous. People need to toughen up. My God.
So Hunted.
Yeah, Hunted.
Oh,
How
yeah.
many shows have we been through?
Given we're 10 minutes into this episode already. So we begin with a fugitive on a walkie-talkie, being followed by the hunters on heat-seeking, and the hunters have eyes on, apparently. And 14 new fugitives are being extracted from Stansted Airport to begin. And, of course, just for Michelle, the first hunter that we see is the bit of all right, Daisy.
Yes.
I follow her on Instagram, and every time she posts about her adorable dog Pepper, all I can think of is you saying, "She's a bit of all right."
Well, she's not hard on the eye. Yes, she's fine.
So Ray is back as the chief, officially. Obviously, the real power behind the throne is Emperor Doug. We all know that. Assisted by Georgina and new Deputy Abigail, who is a former military intelligence officer.
I do love episode 1s of Hunter because it's like a big reunion, isn't it? You go,
It
oh,
is.
look, oh, they're back. Oh, they're so
look at them.
cool.
It
Yeah,
is.
it's great.
And when Doug came on the screen, I actually went, "Doug!"
Yeah, me too.
He's our friend. We like him. He's back. I think this podcast has just continued as a vehicle for Doug spotting at this point. He knows it. He embraces it.
It was great. It was great. Right after, I feel like the producers went, "Come on, don't keep them waiting. Come on, let's get some Doug on."
Some early Doug. We have a proper Doug scene later in the episode. That's all we asked for when we're watching Hunted.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the first team that we're introduced to is brothers-in-law. I've spelled that wrong. Brothers-in-law, Shaq and Warren. For some reason, my Word doc auto-corrected Shaq to Shaw. So I'm like, that's not right.
Sure.
Brothers-in-law, Shaw and Warren. The second team are sisters and definitely not best friends, Jenni and Emma.
Okay, so at this point, I need to declare an interest here.
Ooh.
So, Emma and I used to work together.
No.
Really?
And I had no idea she was on the show. I've not spoken to her for a while. But yeah, about 6 years ago, we worked really closely together on a project when we both worked in the pub industry. So I shared an office with Emma, and we won awards together, in fact. So there we go.
Wow.
And I will also say, with absolutely no bias, Emma and Jenni are my favourite team.
Oh, 100%. They're great. They're going to be so good. And I know Emma enough to know she's going to be great.
Yeah. They were the stars of this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Also, Shaq and Warren, because they weren't the stars of this episode in terms of ability. Jenni and Emma, I think, are going to be a lot of fun. When we get to the third team, who are Steve and Chris, I think they're going to be a lot of fun as well.
Oh, yes.
So Jenni does absolutely not want to do this show. She's only doing it because Emma's making her, basically. And Jenni has also been a prison officer for 11 years, which the Hunters are definitely going to approve of.
Yeah.
Given what happened last year with the prison officer.
Mm-hmm.
The third team is Steve and Chris, who are a pair of best friends. Steve is sight impaired. Chris is height impaired. Already, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm all on board with this team. You just know they're going to be brilliant.
Yeah. I'll also say, just going back to Jenni and Emma, they were going to be the banner with Emma's reaction to Jenni saying, no, we're not best friends. But unfortunately, the resolution on it is a bit weird, and I couldn't make it work as the banner. So instead, Steve and Chris are the banner. Steve only has 10% of his vision, and going on the run is on his bucket list. And immediately, as soon as HQ see that Steve is vision impaired, they go, fuck, he's going to be wily as anything. Because they know what sort of a person is going to get cast if he's got any sort of vision impairment. And the fourth team that we're introduced to are mother and daughter, and very bitchy from George this, extras from The Shining, Dion and Saffron.
Oh gosh, I know. I mean, but that was in the first second. You could see they looked similar, but then as when they were on screen a bit longer, you could see they were mother and daughter. I don't know how anyone could call them sisters.
Yeah, I know that HQ are told to ramp it up and everything, and Doug tells them to sod off and let me do my job. But I do think calling them extras from The Shining is a little bit mean.
I did like it. They did. I get the vibe. It was good.
It was funny, but bitchy.
It was good with them walking down the hallway and them wearing the exact same clothes.
I feel like that statement came from them seeing that picture and going, oh, look at what that looks like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of fascinated about the logistics of this with Stansted, because everyone seemed to have been coming from like different flights and stuff.
Yeah, so how are they all arriving at the same point?
Yeah, because Stansted was not closed down for this. Stansted was still very much a working airport, you could tell it was. So I wonder what the actual infrastructure was on it.
And where have they all flown in from, given that Shaq and Warren are from Croydon? Why would you fly to Stansted from anywhere near Croydon? In fact, to fly anywhere near Croydon, you probably would use Stansted.
I wonder whether, because we know that they sequester him for a few days beforehand, because Rob told us that, I think. I wonder whether they flew in from that, but even then, not everyone was going down an air bridge or whatever.
Yeah, it did look like they were coming in on different flights, which is pointless, right? If they want to do that, just ship them all up to Edinburgh or something and bring them in. I don't know. I guess I know why they want to have an interesting extraction point, but it felt like they went to a bit of extra trouble that they really didn't need to.
Yeah, and also more importantly, who wants to go to Stansted? It's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, precisely.
So the teams have to collect their bags from the carousels, and that is when the hunt will actually begin. They've got to stay on the run for 21 days, seek help from family and friends, and attempt to throw hunters off the scent.
I do like that was stated up front.
Yeah, this is the first time they've actually said that they have to do that. We've always known, obviously, because we've talked to fugitives and all that, and it's always been sort of implied, but they come out straight away and say, yeah, this is what they have to do. It is mandatory they have to seek help from family and friends, and it is mandatory that they have to do something to annoy the hunters.
Maybe that'll stop some of the comments this year.
You know it won't. I didn't look at Twitter for Hunted, but I'm assuming it's the usual bitching of, oh, this is all so fake. And it's like, yeah, it started as a documentary to replicate the powers of the state because of the surveillance bill. Do you not remember that? Nearly 10 years ago?
I know. Although there is a bit later on that I'm like, oh, come on, guys. At least make an effort.
So Mark gets the fun job this year of sitting in the helicopter and spots Emma tripping over straight away, which I'm sure, as her ex-colleague, you absolutely adored.
Bless her.
88 quid on a pair of leggings.
Oh my God, 88 pound leggings.
That is very on brand.
88 pounds? Like, where is she? Are they gold threaded? What the hell? And why would she wear 88-pound leggings on a race where she might be in the bush? I'm sorry. This is my first rant.
She's on telly, Michelle. Of course she's got to look good.
Can't tell the difference. They're just black.
From their bio, it very much seemed like Jenni and Emma are chalk and cheese from two different worlds, even though they're sisters. Because one's from Barnsley, one's from Harrogate.
Yeah. Emma's definitely not from Harrogate, by the way. She
Yeah.
might live there.
She lives there. She's not from there. Well, that's the thing. When they were introduced, they were both introduced as being from Barnsley. And then in her lower third, it says, oh, yeah, she's from Harrogate, really.
Yeah, and then later they said near their home in Wakefield. So I'm not entirely sure the producers have got their Yorkshire geography down.
Yeah, the official bio on the website is Barnsley and Harrogate, respectively.
Yeah.
Because I, sent it to you guys when I put it on Wikipedia. Did you clock that it was that Emma when I sent you that image, by the way?
No, because I don't. Did you put surnames on it? I don't think you did.
No, because they hadn't come out yet.
And I hadn't really looked in detail at the photo. It was literally the first time I saw her on screen was like, oh my God, that's Emma. I know her by her maiden name, which is also her sister's name. I was like, oh my God, that's Emma Salisbury. What's going on?
So the fifth team are Andrew and Robin, who are farmer friends from Dorset. They hope to be underestimated, as roughing it will be a piece of cake for them.
I love this sequence. I love it when they say something and it's while they're doing it, the footage is clearly showing the opposite. It's like, oh, we're definitely going to be able to rough it. I mean, I can't take trousers off, but other than that, I'm going to be fine.
Clearly undermining.
What the hell with the pants?
Which is great because that gives me hope, right? If they're starting out getting the comedy edit, I think they're probably going to do quite well.
Yeah. Did you guys see any wanted posters or anything? Because I think there was only one that got released, and I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, it was pretty quiet as far as I remember.
Because the other thing about this series is it's a very quick turnaround compared to normal. I mean, the last one was obviously abnormal, being like 2 years after it filmed, but this one was about 4 months, I think.
Yeah,
it was June, July they filmed.
Yeah, which is interesting. I wonder why they've done that. What's the urgency to get this out this side of Christmas?
Well, I think Hunted is just a consistent performer for them in that time slot. I know we don't like a Sunday 9 o'clock time slot for it, but it is a very decent performer in that time slot. I'm not sure the Monday one works, but, Sunday works.
Yeah, I don't know why they do that. I can't see any reason to firstly compress the series into 3 weeks, which I think is daft, but also Sunday night and a Monday night are completely different audiences, you'd have thought.
Yeah, it's just a small miracle that they're not putting up against celebrity traitors.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Like ITV are burning Big Brother off against traitors.
Mm.
The sixth team are Sean and Marie, who are doing Adventure Before Dementia, which I'm sure you guys both loved that comment.
Oh, what a great
cool.
little line.
I loved
that made me chuckle.
And they're on a train to Norwich. And the final team are engaged couple Simran and Cameron. It is a pre-marriage test, which we've seen enough TV shows like this to know whenever you say that phrase, it's always interesting.
Yeah. This is like when the all-female teams on The Amazing Race say, we're here to prove that women can do great things. Okay.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, that's definitely going to pan out the way you expect it to.
So Jenni and Emma get into a car and promise they're not weirdos. And the one other bit of the Twins from The Shining that we actually see is that Dion gets clocked tapping in on a bus to Harlow. Steve and Chris get in a taxi and aim to get as close to Ilford as their £50 will take them. Another rule that they've subtly confirmed there.
Yeah.
That they get 50 quid. I think it's 50 quid a day they can take out. It changes.
Yeah, I think it's definitely 50 quid at a time. I'm not sure if they've confirmed what the interval is, but daily would make sense.
Because I think Joe and Dan said it was 50 quid at a time, but they only found the cash machine to begin with dispense 20s.
Okay.
Because that's why I remember it.
But then they said that Warren and Shaq took out £49. Did you hear that? Like, why £49?
So the hunters only have one team on the ground and lots of CCTV and information to sift through. And Warren and Shaq are the only team not to leave the airport by the time the hunters get there, and they tap in on the Stansted Express.
What do we think about using the ATM and tapping in at the Stansted Express?
I think ATM's a better idea.
Yeah, definitely. And because I think if you know that the hunters know where you are, you might as well do anything that gives your identity away at that point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So use an ATM when you know that the hunters already know you're at the airport.
because at least if they use the ATM, there are a few options of how they're going to get out.
Yeah, then going and buying a ticket for a train at the airport, maybe less smart, but
But yeah, you don't use your card unless you absolutely have to. And I know that they do have a thing where they've got to use the card a certain number of times and all that sort of stuff. So I'm not naive about that. But there's a few where you go, really, you shouldn't be tapping in on anything if you don't have to.
Mhm.
Mm.
So Charlotte and Paul are the hunter team on the ground and they pull up at the train station. However, HQ analyst Ashley informs them the train is leaving the station and the fugitives are on board.
Yeah, no, I don't know if it's because we've just watched this too many times, but in my notes, I've literally put Shaq and Warren still at airport, brackets, they are definitely not getting caught. So it's the old, if they're not in the same frame, they could be hours apart.
But I think Warren still ends up getting caught on day one. I think all of this story in this episode is day one.
Oh, yeah. I just mean like in that moment where, it goes to an ad break on a cliffhanger and you're like, oh, is he going to catch him? Absolutely not. There's no way they're getting caught at this stage.
Yeah, because I think there's only been one person before who got caught on day one, and that was in Joe and Dan's series, and Alex and Bob. That was a really useless university lecturer who got caught in the Manchester bus station.
That's right.
So Emma and Jenny are in their new associates, Kathy's car, and still being chased by the helicopter. Emma has 3 degrees and thinks that she can outsmart the hunters.
Yeah. She's a smart cookie, Emma.
Yeah. I have high hopes for them.
I do. You always worry when you see a lot of team in episode 1 because it means one of two things, doesn't it? It means they get caught very early and you need to get all their backstory out of the way, or they're going to do really well, so they need to be cemented in your mind so that you don't forget how good they are. So I'm hoping, because clearly Shaq and Warren aren't going to the end, that maybe Emma and Jenny are don't forget about this team because they're going to be really good.
And sometimes when you've got a team on quite a bit, it's because all of a sudden they go quiet and they can't find them, and then that's the only content they have.
I think from an editing point of view, as soon as Emma falls over in the car park, you go, we've got to focus on these people for the first episode, really.
Mm-hmm.
But you tend to have a team who are really high visibility in the first episode who do really well, which would be the girls. You tend to have a team who are not high visibility but just get comedy scenes like Steve and Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And then you tend to get a complete clusterfuck of a team like Warren and Jack. So Kathy takes them to an underground car park for a vehicle change, but Emma uses a stranger's phone to contact her friend Imogen, who works nearby, and the helicopter has to duck out because of fuel, and as a result, they lose track of Jenny and Emma. We then get our legally mandated scene of Emperor Doug, who looks at Shaq's photo metadata, and the photos cluster all around the south of the River Thames, and they have a huge network in and around Croydon, so teams are sent there.
Yeah, I mean, that's not fair, is it? Because we immediately then find out that they've got contacts in Basildon. No, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, their contacts go as far north as Basildon. I'm going to try not to be too hard on Warren and Shaq being morons in this episode. But
it's going to be difficult.
No, totally.
But what I will say here is that if you are a team whose contacts are all clustered around one very small area, especially in London where there's lots of CCTV, you go as far away from there as possible.
Yeah. Definitely not get in touch with your sister-in-law. I mean, come on.
And how many cameras were they seen on? Like, seriously,
Yeah.
it was like, how many more cameras can you possibly get on? Are you just going to places where there are cameras?
Well, I'm assuming you guys saw the last Celebrity series. They had to go to London to get the extraction information, and there are so many cameras.
Yeah.
It was a plot point for an entire episode of the Celebrity series.
Yeah, they didn't cover themselves in glory in this episode, I think it's fair to say.
So they put Mariah on monitoring, who is Warren's sister and Jack's partner, and the boys arrive in Tottenham Hale and beg Warren to steal a way to go to Croydon. They reach Croydon and CCTV picks them up on the entire journey because, again, London's transport network has a lot of cameras. And Veronica and Mel are sent to Mariah's home address, and the neighbours wonderfully refuse to grass her up.
Yeah, in the most South London scene ever. It was great. I know grass.
Shaq and Warren then seek help from nearby friend Aisha, and she arranges them a lift to a safe place, but Mariah calls her about the house visit, and the hunters get the call. More importantly, including the boys talking to her. As much as it's Michelle's job to just go, stupid, all the time on this podcast. Stupid!
Yes. Yes.
And Warren even gets brass bollocks and says he wants them to be lured to the house so he can see who he's dealing with.
It's great, isn't it? Their only tiny bit of redemption is that at least they figure out, oh, they've already sorted the connection. They're already on to us. It's like, well, yeah, it's your sister, mate.
But the other fun bit of this is the very next scene is the bit where Aisha says, oh, you do realise that they can identify my car because it's got a personalised number plate, right? Again, trying not to rag on them too much, but yeah.
Have they ever watched the show before? Like,
No.
Clearly not.
Would it be a no?
No. Without knowing specifics, I would guess that they saw an Instagram advert saying, do you want to win £100,000 and go on the run? And they were like, yeah, we could do that for 21 days. I suspect they have never seen this show before.
That's insane.
So the hunters also make the connection to Aisha's stepdad, Loxley, who is housing them, and put him on monitoring. And in a sign of this show having a bit more of a budget, for some reason HQ now have weird ABBA Voyage-style avatars of the fugitives that they can bring up.
They are a bit weird. Yeah, why? Why do you need those?
We then get reminded that Steve and Chris exist. As Steve is very active, they worry he'll be way fitter than they anticipate. They're in the Welsh border, staying off the radar. Steve was told that he was going blind when he was 18, but his family knew way before he did.
Yeah, it's always good to get a nice little bit of sympathetic backstory in episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hypothetical question for you both as parents. Would you do what Steve's parents did if one of your kids was going blind and you knew?
I don't know. I did briefly think about it. I don't think so. I think I would have had that conversation as soon as they were old enough to understand.
Maybe at 12-ish, probably.
Yeah. I know this is a very heavy conversation for our podcast, and we do usually try and keep it as light as possible, but I was genuinely interested when I watched that scene. I'm like, I need to ask them about that, just out of interest.
Yeah, and I get where he's coming from, that, if you're told something like that, it could impose a self-limiting belief. But on the flip side of that, if you're prepared for something, then you can start dealing with it, and you can start putting in place things that you might need. So I get it.
There's no wrong answer.
No, absolutely not.
And there's no criticism from any of us. I just think it would be a very difficult choice, regardless. And there's no right or wrong answer, I would say. I think it probably depends on the child. But
yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, Steve and Chris are probably going to win. It's summary.
Fair shout. It's a fair shout.
Bearing in mind, every single time we watch a premiere and we see a scene like this of someone just randomly in a field that we get for a minute going, yeah, they're nowhere near the hunters. They're probably going to do fairly well.
Yeah.
And we could usually call it from episode 1 with these people.
Absolutely. And if they don't win, then I absolutely cast down guarantee that his sight is not going to be the reason they get caught.
No. It'll be a James and Nathan situation where one of them knackers the leg or something.
Yeah.
So HQ gets CCTV of Emma and Jenny getting into a new vehicle, and it's got telematics. Emma's just had a baby 6 months ago, so Cleo thinks that it will pull at her heartstrings, and a team is sent north, as that seems to be where all of their network is.
Yeah, although the north is somewhat more rural than Croydon.
Yeah. I was going to say, this will sound very hypocritical when I don't criticise them for heading north.
It's different, right? Because Yorkshire famously has an awful lot of space and places and moorlands, and there's a lot of places you can hide in Yorkshire, not Croydon.
the chances of them getting CCTV that has facial recognition in, say, Harrogate is much smaller than getting CCTV with facial recognition in Croydon or Brixton or any of the other places that they went through on
Yeah.
their quest to go home.
Yeah.
Especially when you know, as we've already had it confirmed in this episode, that they do have to seek help from family and friends and all that. It makes a lot more sense to go way away from the start point anyway, towards your network first, get any supplies they can help you with when the hunters are inevitably going to be playing catch up because they've got so much CCTV and information to go through. Do all that nonsense first, and then just go at the back of beyond.
Yeah, that makes absolutely perfect sense. Yeah.
I don't know whether there is a time frame in which like they've got to harass the hunters once a week or whatever to get around that. But, you know, if it was me, and I would never do this show because I would hate every single second of it, you go as far away from the extraction point, you do all the mandatory stuff like contacting your friends and family and all that while the hunters are more distracted with more people, and then you just disappear.
Yeah, and it takes time for them to build your network, doesn't it? So if you've already contacted people before they know they're your cousin, then you've got a better chance. The longer you leave it, the more likely they are to have established the connections.
Yeah, the hunters have got to play catch up at the start if you're going to succeed.
Yep.
Whereas if you go towards where they are and all the facial recognition cameras and all the cameras and all the stuff like that in London, you're probably not going to do that well.
Just one word. Stupid.
Yeah. We have seen before that HQ hunters are not averse to going out into the field themselves and doing a capture, or at least facilitating a capture. So I don't think it was particularly smart. Imogen's asked to take them to Yorkshire. Emma's doing hunted to show her son Freddie in future that he can do anything, and they are dropped off at Bentley railway station 20 miles away from home. HQ get the telematics and the CCTV of them at the train station and identify the train eventually. In Croydon, Warren then rings his sister Nadine from Loxley's phone to try and get out of the area. Nadine then, really subtly, makes a scene in a zipcar and honks the horn repeatedly.
Yeah, but she's got massive sunglasses on, right? So nobody's going to know who it is. Come on, give her some credit.
Oh my God.
You know, if you want to hide in South London, massive sunglasses or putting a hoodie backwards over your head works every time. Works every time.
A little bit of praise I will give them here is a zip car is not a bad idea.
No, I give them credit for that. Yeah, just renting a car, good idea. Good idea.
Because it's much harder for HQ to actually pinpoint anything on it. Yes, it'll probably still have telematics and all that, but it's much, much harder for them to sift through all the data of where that car's been.
Yeah,
because they don't know who the driver is.
And because it's like, you know, you can hire those things for like an hour, can't you? It's going to have all sorts of random journeys here, there, and everywhere. There's not going to be a lot of data you can use off that.
I do wonder whether HQ would clamp down on that in future series, because it seems like a bit of a loophole.
We'll see.
In the same way that WhatsApp used to be a loophole and now they actually allow it.
Yeah, but what you'll find is if they use it again, somehow there'll be this amazing system where every time a zipcar moves, it pings somewhere. You know?
Yeah.
Let's be honest, Emperor Doug's probably got away.
There'll be a way. Where there's a Doug, there's a way.
Yeah. So HQ pick up the activity on Loxley's phone and makes the connection with Nadine. Her phone is cell-sighting towards Kent, where she is taking the boys. And they are dropped off on a side road, allegedly in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, you know, whilst on one hand it's quite difficult to hide in South Croydon because of the CCTV, on the other hand, two black guys in the middle of Kent, not going to stick out at all.
Yeah. Yeah, they sort of skirted around that a little bit.
Well, they did mention it, to be fair. They were like, yeah. And you know, I admire the courage of wandering around what looks like quite a white estate in Kent, randomly knocking on doors, telling people you're on the run, will you help us out? I admire your spirit, boys.
Yeah. Going to Kent in and of itself is not a bad idea, because it's a lot more rural than, you know, Croydon. But, again, you probably want to stick to areas where you can blend in.
Which is not where they were.
It didn't look like they were going to get a yes, come on in, come and have a cup of tea or anything.
Yeah, I was very impressed they did manage to finally get someone who was willing to help them.
Thinking about it, we haven't really had that many black teams. We got 2 this time.
Mm.
Yeah.
But we haven't really had that many over the past 7 series.
Well, we'll have to get IO's view on the diversity situation.
Yeah.
You always get one in Race Across the World, don't you? You always have one.
Yeah, because Io and Madu are the only ones I think who got towards the end who are black. I can't think of any others, and I'm sure someone will fact check me, but I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Do you have to clip this bit and make it into a YouTube short called "Is Hunted Racist?"
Yeah, Hunted Racist.
I love how every time you say something like that, Michael, you actually sound Aussie.
I've watched too much Australian TV recently, Michelle. Bloody racer.
Like when you're mad and want to say something like that, you actually turn Aussie.
I have found myself doing a lot of Australianisms when I get angry, I'll be honest. I do occasionally, when I'm driving, shout "rack off your dag," that sort of thing.
I've started watching wrestling recently because Joe's into it, and every time they introduce Rhea Ripley as Rhea Bloody Ripley, it makes me laugh.
Jenni and Emma go to stay with one of Jenny's prison contacts, Nobby, but HQ get the CCTV of them leaving the train and make the connection to him. Welsh Paul and Craig are then sent to Nobby's house, and Craig jumps the gate. They search the house and interrogate him, but unfortunately his doorbell gives them away. Again, previous series.
Yeah. It was at this point that it occurred to me that I'm probably the only one that got why Nobby's called Nobby. And that made me feel very old. So his surname is Styles.
Yeah, of course.
There was a famous footballer called Nobby
Styles,
Styles in the 60s. So.
Yeah, so unfortunately the doorbell camera gave them away, and they, however, have gone a bit more rural because, Yorkshire, it works. And Shaq and Warren have been seeking help in the lovely urban metropolis of Ashford with local residents, and they worry that they will stand out in majority white areas, as we said. And they find a new associate, Rick, who offers to drive them to Canterbury, but they need to make a pit stop at Tesco to get some supplies first.
Oh, God. Like, why? Why didn't you go on the run with your supplies in your bag? Your chips, or you call them crisps, like muesli bars, energy bars. Have them in the bag.
Buy them at the airport.
Yeah. I will say this now. For all the admirable things that they did with going around that estate and knocking on doors until they found someone to help them, they're not going to stand out in Ashford Tesco at all having a face covering on, not in COVID. If it was a face mask, like during COVID, you'd probably get away with it still.
Which they did have.
Yeah, but putting a scarf over your nose and mouth, you're definitely going to attract a bit of attention, even if you're not on the run. Because anyone who covered their face when I worked in retail would be the one who would get covertly followed down the aisles.
Uh-huh. And did I miss something, or did the "we've got a CCTV hit in Tesco" kind of come out of nowhere?
Yeah.
It did, but I think we saw earlier in the episode that they were looking for likely CCTV sites. So I think the way it probably works is they put in those requests, and then Gold Command, which I'm not sure if it's still Kevin, by the way, because he was credited differently this year. Then Gold Command comes back to them and goes, right, you've got a hit.
Yeah, it just felt like it was a little bit sloppy, like one sentence from them. Because I think at some point they were looking at a map and the Ashford area was on it. If they just said, let's look for places around here, the camera could have zoomed in on the Tesco, because I think it was actually on screen. It just felt a little bit like, oh, you're just giving ammunition to these people who are going to go, oh, it's fixed.
I think it did at one point focus on the Tesco.
I'm sure it did, but if all they had to do was just mention it, and it would have just made the next bit much more realistic.
Because when they were setting up the triangulation of where the phone ping and all that was, they said there's a few CCTV sites of the big Tesco there, and then the camera zoomed in on it, I think.
Just make it more obvious for people, please.
Yeah, I think no matter what they do on this show, the people on Twitter are still going to bitch about it.
That's fair.
Being honest. So they did enough for me, at least, but maybe not for others. HQ gets CCTV from the Tesco, believing correctly that it's Warren, and they get the car and put it on ANPR, and they spot that the car was empty, so no, the fugitives have left it, and then get CCTV of the fugitives walking through an underpass. They spot the hunters as Mark gets out the car, and he sprints after them. They split up, and Steve also leaves the car, And with a very good spot, Steve draws first blood for the series, and Warren's time on the run is over on day 1.
And he gets the line right. Good man.
He
Well
does. You've learnt well, new hunter.
done.
And that is the end of the episode.
Yeah. So what are the odds that that they get Shaq within the first 2 minutes of the next episode?
I don't know, because we didn't see where he was hiding, I don't think.
He was kind of behind a bin, I think.
Mm.
It can only go one, in my opinion, it can go one of two ways. Either it's the first thing that happens in the next episode, or he carries on his own for quite some time.
Yeah, I think likely Jenni and Emma are going to do very well. I think likely Steve and Chris are going to do very well from what we've seen in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure whether I've got enough information to wager anything on anyone else yet.
Yes.
No, and I think, to be honest, that probably tells us they're all going to do okay.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a clear early capture. We've got 2 clear good teams. The rest are just going to be the captures that happen in episodes 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, I think if I had to guess another team to get caught sooner than later, I'd probably say Dion and Saffron.
Yep.
But that's not really based on anything other than the history of this show.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
We don't tend to see all-female teams do that well unless they're focused on, like, Emma and Jenni in the first episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You need to have a strong first episode, I think, if you're going to win.
Yeah. You need to at least have enough content.
Who's in the spa in the preview of the next episode?
Oh, I closed my eyes.
Oh, we always talk about what's happening in the next
We
thing.
do, but this one was not a next time one. This one was a here's what's coming up on the rest of the series one.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
was
a bit.
it? Oh, well,
Yeah.
some guys in a spa.
Yeah, I've done notes based on it, but I was not paying attention to who was actually involved because, as we know from previous series, I end up accidentally spoiling myself on pretty much everything because I see the B-roll that they do and go, oh, we've not seen that yet, so that person must be safe. Or in the case of the one that ended in Birmingham, literally seeing the extraction and being like, oh, he's running at the Bullring car park. He can't go. So, coming up still on the rest of the series, quick cars, drones, hot tubs, sheep, and lots of running.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. I think the fast car is probably the thing that I'm most interested about there. I think that sort of thing has the making of a moment that we'd love to talk about.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see what that is.
Yeah. But then again, the big things like Rob going to the Liverpool Victory Parade never made it onto TV.
That's true.
Any predictions from you guys?
I think we covered it. I think
Yeah.
Jenni and Emma.
I mean, you're biased on Jenni and Emma.
I am, but I'm really happy that they're not clearly the first team captured. That would have been really embarrassing.
Yeah. We want them to do well so you can just go, hi, I know we've not spoken for 8 years, but I have a podcast, ?
I've already messaged her.
Oh,
I've only got her on LinkedIn though, and it doesn't look like she's very active on there, so she may not, but she might be a listener because I'm pretty sure we were doing the podcast when we worked together. So
it would have been.
So basically, what I'm saying is, I was probably the inspiration for her going on the show. That's all I'm saying. It's not for me to say other people are saying this. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that's true. But
Alex said I was the inspiration for him doing 007 Road to a Million. So what are you bringing to the table, Michelle?
Oh, really?
He did.
Alex
Yes.
did not say that. Really?
He genuinely did, because him and Rob said a few times that the only reason that they knew of the show was because I was singing its praises in series 1.
What did he go to last week? He went to some social thing last week with Race to a Million People.
I don't know. A lot of them are very friendly now. I mean, I met quite a few of them at the premiere event anyway, because they were all absolutely lovely. I don't know if any of them are going to listen. It'll probably get back to them because Alex does listen to this. But yeah, they were all very lovely. I did have a lovely time. I went into this a lot more in the Historians episodes. I wasn't planning on talking about this again today, but you guys hadn't discussed it with me. Yeah, so what are you bringing to the table, Michelle? Who are you getting on TV?
God, I don't know. If I get on, I'll be dragging on a Survivor alumni. So
You will.
yeah, let's just see if that happens.
You got close at one point, I believe.
Yeah, well, I mean, the CEO said to me at the Logies, I said, I'm one half of your next winning female team, or your only female winning team. And he said, yeah, we know about you. We've actually talked about your partner. You're actually on the list.
Yeah, you're on a watch list.
On a watch list. Yeah, a watch list. And when he
Yeah.
said we've talked about your partner, I'm like, how have you talked about my partner? In what way? I'm thinking in my brain.
Unfortunately, you were on a shortlist, but we did get a call from New South Wales Police.
Yes, that's it. We got a call from the Hunted production people.
Anything else to say about this episode?
It's just good it's back.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think it was a spectacular first episode, but
No, I
it
thought that.
ticked all the boxes. It did everything we need it to do. It set things up nicely. I did really like that they spelled out some of the rules early doors as well. Yeah, it doesn't mean it isn't going to be an amazing series, but yeah, it was good. It was great.
No, I must admit that I was very relieved that it wasn't a hugely talky episode this week, because I've not got much time to edit it, but hopefully next week will be. Purely selfishly, of course.
That's fine.
So, thank you for listening to our Hunted recap. We'll be back same time next week to recap episode number 2. Don't forget you can contact us on pretty much every social media platform that isn't TikTok, where we are TV Warriors. I can email us and contact at rtvwarriors.com. And still on the artist following known as Twitter at Bullsboy. Michelle is Bear3333333, and I'm MJ Harmstone. We'll see you next week for episode 2. But for this week, your time in the run is over.
Bye.
Bye.